Good morning. How are you doing, friends? It's Pam here, and I wish you could been a fly on the wall, so to speak, to see how I just was setting up a great little, you know, rock tripod on the picnic table. And unfortunately, I waited too long, and now the sun is really bright in that area. So I'm coming back to the shade. But it's such a beautiful morning that I wanted to be outside if possible. Well, yesterday I tried filming this 3 times and I was on a walk and I kept having an interruption, like a truck going by or a man with his dog, and I wasn't confident enough to just keep going through that interruption. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between opportunity and threat or a challenge, misadventure, whatever is the opposite of an opportunity. And I don't know about you, but I have been given many opportunities in my life presented with, hey, why don't you do this? This would be a great idea. So many times, particularly, now, there's a crazy truck going by. Now that I'm not working, I don't have a teaching contract at the moment. And it's really hard sometimes to tell what is an open door, what's an opportunity that you can walk through with confidence that will lead to something good, and what's actually going to bring you down or going to turn out wrong. And sometimes we just don't know. We don't know until we open that door. But I was thinking about this after we had a couple of salesmen come to our door in our neighborhood, and they were knocking, loudly, ringing the doorbell over and over. And their opportunity was, a deal on something. And I made the mistake of, it was a really hot day and this guy came to the door in the afternoon and I said, oh, come in out of the heat. And then I gave him a bottle of water and, he came into the house and I was thinking, like, why am I so overly friendly like this? Why do I let, people in so easily still? And, I was a little bit careful. I wouldn't have done that if my son hadn't been home. My son happened to be home early that day. And anyway, but still, that gave him the idea that he could come back later and talk to both of us. And actually, my husband was not into it and we didn't want the opportunity. But thinking about how things are sometimes packaged as this wonderful deal or this wonderful opportunity, but really it's just trying to take from you and really can sometimes cause harm. How do you know? And especially as a young person, I had this fear of missing out. I don't know if you've heard of that, FOMO. And I'd been told by professors and other people in my life that had said, if you get lots of experience, you'll get a teaching job, or the more experience you have, the more likely you will succeed. And so in some ways that's true. So I jumped at every opportunity and every experience. And one time in particular, I worked for 4 months at a youth detention center. And that was packaged as an opportunity to, grow in that area, to grow in like conflict resolution, maybe, looking after troubled youth. And I was really interested in that. And so I thought, this is a great opportunity. And it turned out to be a really actually negative or detrimental thing in my life in total. Yes, I learned a lot from it. Yes, I have a lot of colorful stories I could share. Yes, it gave me a lot of experience and definitely, helped me to be less naive. But one time I was supposed to cover for the chaplain when he was on holidays. That was kind of my official thing, like my official title was summer program planner, but I ended up doing all kinds of things. We started a newspaper, and one of the things was covering for the chaplain when he was supposed to be covering for the teacher. Now the PE teacher. The PE teacher had scheduled a mountain biking unit, and I just thought, oh, showed up to work on Monday, and this is what you're doing. So I was like, okay, well, I can bike, but I'm not a mountain biker. And so I ended up taking all these guys between ages about 14, 15, and 18 out into the wilderness. We weren't even on trails for most of it. And one resident really saved my butt because I had traded bikes with someone who wanted to trade bikes, and I forgot that all the keys were on my bike. And so, anyway, lots of stories I could tell about that day. But suffice to say, that might have been, in some ways, looked like a really good opportunity for me to grow in those areas, to get teaching experience. But it was way too much, way too soon. I was far too naive, and I ended up really damaged and depressed after that time, for a lot of reasons. But anyway, what do you think about that idea that we have opportunities that are presented, and they can sometimes be disguised as challenges or even threats, and sometimes the opposite is true. So right now, as I have several different opportunities that I could do, I'm really wrestling with that, especially at this stage of my life where I don't really want to waste any time. I really want to do what my heart, wants to do and what I feel called to do. And I have been feeling more capacity to, spend time with young people and teach. And so my plan right now is to do the piano lessons, voice lessons, and then if I have other days of the week available, which I plan to, I can substitute teach in schools in the area. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let me know if you have any stories about, opportunities that might have gone awry, or, threats that seemed like they wouldn't work out, but actually turned out to be a great opportunity for you, a great thing. So just a little thought this morning. I hope you guys are doing really well. And obviously as a Christian, I pray and ask God to open doors, and He does give me open doors, and I'm thankful for that. But to have the wisdom to know when, maybe there's a wolf at the door, right? And if you open the door without thinking, without considering, without praying, without looking ahead, sometimes you can have a whole pack of wolves in your house before you know it. And so we need those boundaries, right? Boundaries, wisdom, thoughtfulness, and sometimes you can feel it, right? You can just feel it in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. Like, this isn't right for me. And so I'm kind of done with jumping into opportunities that are not right for me. So we'll see where life leads. Anyway, I was saying goodbye, so say goodbye again. Thanks for being here. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you like just little chats, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye.